Okay, with National Coach Bill Zadick, U.S. Open this week, and
Yep.
obviously this is sort of the first big domestic event in the new quad. Talk about the with the new quad, what comes with it. We have a bunch of new faces coming in, and it's just going to be a new thing. Guys dropping out, guys coming in. What do you expect to see?
Yeah, so there's always some changeover every quadrennium, this year there's not as much turnover. There's a few guys that are moving on from their competitive careers. It looks like Tervel is probably moving on. And then we have some new faces, but we do have a lot of new faces coming up. Some younger guys and some big excitement. So this U.S. Open, it'll be an exciting event to see who emerges, who these young guys that have been coming up and doing well in the developmental World Championships and in other events, and coming off the NCAA tournament here just 5 weeks ago or so. I think we're going to see some really exciting young guys coming out of the NCAA ranks that are going to make some noise this year at the U.S. Open.
So speaking of that, what are you looking for as a national coach in your position? At this particular event, it's not the World Team Trials, so you probably have a little more hands-on than you do at the trials. But what do you anticipate, or what do you look at when you're watching this event?
Yeah, so what I'm looking for is proficiency, right? I'm looking for the guys who can potentially be the guy this year. I'm interested in seeing how our veterans perform, and are they improving in their focus areas from what we've seen through the fall and winter tours in our international competitions. And then with these young guys that are stepping in to make their mark, I want to see where they're at. It's an important event, and to see these guys, I've been around many of them back when I was a developmental coach and they were developmental athletes. But what I'm looking for now is, are they transitioning? Are those skills translating on the senior side? And where are we at? And it's going to give us a good idea of who potentially our world team can be. With the U.S. Open champion or the previous medalist sitting out, there's about a 92% probability over history that over time that person is a person that makes the team. And so we have 3 guys sitting out potentially, and then we have 5 other weights that are up in the air for somebody to step forward and really put a stamp on it. So I want to see who those people are and who's competing hard and fighting for it, and showing the proficiency in the skill areas that we need to see to be podium ready, to win medals on the international level.
Can you talk about the bye to the finals a little bit, and why you think it's a good idea, or why you like that way to select the team?
Yeah, so with the medalists, what I feel is it's an incentive for proven performers. We know these guys can win medals on the international level, and as a national coach, that's what my job is to put people out there that can win medals and win gold medals. And so we want to provide that incentive. With the U.S. Open champ, the U.S. Open is significant. It's a major event, right? Open tournament, you're going to, have anywhere from maybe as little as the high 20s or low 30s to maybe 40 or 50 in a bracket, depending on where you fall and what weight category. So those winners are going to have to come through a hard-fought tournament. And so earning that bye is an opportunity to give them a leg up and a reward for coming through a tough field. But it's also not picking the team. It's, we've had several guys, I believe, like probably our most recent is Tony Ramos in 2014, came through the mini tournament and then made the world team in that year. And so it can be done. And so part of it is to provide some incentive and some reward to our proven performers, and the other side is to give an opportunity for maybe on paper an underdog to come through and still have a good shot to make the team if they're if they're proficient, right? Again, it's there's a high level of technical demand there to be good enough to come through a field like that. And so, I'm open-minded. I know we know how other countries do it. We know that there's other countries that have very good teams. They have different societies and a lot of situations. Russians and Eastern Europeans and Iranians. The coach has more influence to pick the team and actually select athletes. I don't know if that necessarily is great in our culture and our society, but I do believe in dangling the carrot so there's incentive for guys to compete hard, and that our process is reflective of what it takes to win a medal. So our process is set up so that somebody is going to have to win 4 or 5 tough matches in a row to make the team, which is exactly what you're going to have to do to win a medal at the World Championships or the Olympic Games. You're going to have to win 4 or 5 tough matches in a day. And so that's kind of the philosophy behind our process.
And sticking with the process a little bit, obviously the Greco and the women are having their trials this week, and we're just having the Freestyle Open this week, and your trials are in a couple months. So talk to me about why you like this process or this setup, and maybe potentially with the new Pan Am, seeding things for the World Championships. Yeah. Well, do you see the process changing or evolving to get the team set before the Pan Ams?
Yeah. The quick answer, potentially. Mm-hmm. Yeah, potentially. But so the way that Greco and women are doing it is to select their team earlier and have more preparation time, which I like. I think everybody would like that. In our situation, we're heavily reliant on the NCAA pipeline, and not only that, but when you look back at Rio, for example, our 2 medalists were the 2 youngest guys on the team. Jaden at 21 and Kyle at 20, and you look at the NCAA tournament this year, and in the last several years, you have more younger athletes who are NCAA champions, and they're proving themselves to be medal ready. So for us to have a U.S. Open earlier, we would have a harder time capturing those young athletes. So we want to be inclusive of those really high potential kids and give them opportunity to be in our process and win medals. And so that's kind of the idea there, is to have our U.S. Open so that we can have these guys participating in the Freestyle Open and give them that chance. And then our trials in June. Moving forward, if we go to the proposed system of qualifying to the World Championships, similar to what's done at the Olympic Games, where your first group of qualifiers comes from the previous year's championship, your next group would come from your Continental Championships, and then there would be one World qualifier after that. Obviously, that really increases the importance of the Pan Ams and making the top 4 or the top 6, whatever they end up deciding on those requirements. So if we move to that, we would look at moving it earlier and picking our team. And so, an idea there is that you decide your team before that championship, the Continental Championship, so your number 1 guy is going there, giving us the best chance to qualify for the World Championships. So we'll definitely be looking at that. And I do like the idea of having a little more time to have decided your team earlier and more preparation time. But I think there's a balance between that, of dangling that carrot and keeping them sharp as far as making the team, and then picking the team early enough to make some adjustments and move forward and really get them ready for the World. So right now we kind of operate in a 12 to 16 week cycle from our trials to our championships, and it's been very successful. But I'm not. I don't want to rest on what's traditional. I want to make sure that we're being innovative in our thinking and looking at what's best for the current times. And so, moving forward, I definitely consider amending our process to be more efficient and more effective as far as putting the best guys on the team.
Last thing here, you mentioned the the youth, the success we've had with the young guys on the team, and I think we're seeing more depth, and we're growing internationally in our success in recent years. So, just talk about that. I mean, how you view the depth and success of this program as it is now heading into this quad, maybe as it was, compared to the last quad, and what you see the potential to be.
Yeah, well, of course, with our recent results, both on the senior and the developmental sides, I'm pretty optimistic about our potential. But I want to be very careful about that. Potential is just that, it's potential. And what I want to make sure is that it gets realized into actual medal production. So a big philosophy, a big part of the philosophy is consistency. And going back to when I was developmental coach, I felt like we have and always have had great athletes. And what was the difference between these great athletes in actually winning medals? And I think a big part of it is consistency. It's consistency in opportunity, meaning experience. It's consistency in that experience, so it's not just once a year or twice a year, but it's often enough that it keeps them continuing to grow and build in their skill sets and their philosophies and their training methodology and all the things that go into the sport. So, and that's going to be one of the main objectives for me as a national coach is continuing to build and grow, not only maintain the consistency we've had, but continue to add to it and build more from the senior level down to the elite developmental level and even the grassroots level is that consistency of information, opportunity, experience. Kyle Snyder, Mark Hall, Bo Nickel, Miles Martin, Dayton Fix, Spencer Lee, Yanni, all these kids have come up through their own systems, but then we've been able to add to that by getting involved in our senior camps and our junior camps and having them rub elbows with the best guys in the country and the best coaches in the country more often, and that's a big piece of it. That's a big piece of it, and so we have to continue to do those things.